Listen, this is story time, okay? Once upon a time, there was a young artist named Maya who dreamed of showcasing her paintings in a prestigious art gallery. With her brimming with hope and excitement, Maya eagerly submitted her portfolio to a gallery curator, hoping for a chance to exhibit her work. Days into the week, and Maya anxiously awaited a response, envisioning her artwork adorning the gallery walls. However, when the email finally arrived, it brought with it a wave of disappointment and rejection. The curator politely thanked Maya for her submission, but explained that they had chosen other artists for an upcoming exhibition. At first, Maya felt disheartened and discouraged. She questioned her talent and doubted whether her art would ever be recognized. But amidst the sting of rejection, Maya made a bold decision to turn this setback into an opportunity for growth and resilience. Instead of wallowing in her self-pity, Maya resolved to use the rejection as motivation and reframe her craft and pursue alternate avenues to showcase her art. She poured herself into her paintings, experimenting with new techniques and styles, fueled by a newfound determination to prove herself. As Maya continued to create, she stumbled upon a local art festival accepting submissions for emerging artists. Without hesitation, Maya submitted her work, channeling her passion and perseverance into each brushstroke. To her delight, Maya's paintings caught the eye of the festival's organizer, who were captivated by her unique style and creative vision. They offered Maya the opportunity to showcase her art in a solo exhibition at the festival, an opportunity she might have never had pursued if not for the initial rejection from the gallery. With renewed confidence and enthusiasm, Maya embraced the opportunity, pouring her heart and soul into preparing for the exhibition. When the day finally arrived, Maya's artwork mesmerized attendees, elating awe and admiring from all who beheld it. Through resilience, perseverance, and a refusal to be derailed by rejection, Maya transformed disappointment into triumph. What began as a setback and blossomed into an unexpected opportunity, a testament to Maya's unwavering belief in herself and her art. And as Maya stood amidst her creation, basking in the glory of success, in the glow of success, she knew that rejection was not the end, but merely the beginning of her journey towards an artistic fulfillment and achievement. So this story is jam-packed with all kinds of stuff. So you can turn to the first page and give me we're going to use a real life scenario because I'm sure y'all got, give me a rejection story that's happened in the office that all y'all are aware of, and maybe like there was some tension there, that maybe there was everyone didn't come to an agreement or something. So when rejection happens, what happens in the room emotionally, the energy in the room? Why is everyone, that's good. Okay, explain what happens. And I'm asking specifically because I want you to really think about your answer, and answer it for yourself. Because if you say, well, Zechariah, or she does this, or he does that, and try not to answer with that. What happens to you in the room whenever rejection sets in? Because I understand that it's stressful and it sucks, it sets everybody back, but everyone's energy on rejection combined can kind of ruin the momentum. Yeah. So what happens in the room with each of you whenever rejection happens? Yeah. And I'm not trying to paint it as if it's a good thing. Rejection is only good but because of the lessons that come from it. The actual rejection has actual feelings attached to it. You can feel like you didn't do a good job, you didn't communicate well, we could have did this, that's all fine, but are we learning from it? So what are some of the responses or feelings that you have when rejection happens?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, who said drop the ball?
Me.
Name specifically how you commonly drop the ball in rejection, right? Because if rejection is happening often, there has to be patterns, okay? So when we say I dropped the ball, and you're telling yourself, I messed up, okay? And let's just say you have 10 qualities. 8 of those qualities or 9 of those qualities you never drop the ball on. You actually know how to make the call, make this, do the follow-up. Okay, you're good at those, but you drop the ball on one of them, okay? But psychologically, when you communicate, it's called self-talk. When your self-talk is broad and negative, guess what it attacks?
Me?
Yeah, but guess what it attacks? You're good at 9 of these.
Confidence.
It attacks all of them.
Yeah.
You don't have to say, I dropped the ball at boom, 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 because you didn't, because you're good at them. But you did drop the ball on something. And it's important for you to say, I dropped the ball on this. Who's with me? Go ahead.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay. So, and I know it's not so cut and dry.
Oh, yeah.
But let's just say, if you had to narrow it down, where was the ball dropped?
Making commitments. Damn, like.
So you dropped the ball on commitments because the client didn't feel like you were committing to
No,
something?
because we were committed, but I should have told, at that time, like, I should have verbally told the seller, hey, I know he's there. Don't sign anything without me talking.
Boom.
Me and you talking.
Let's stop right there.
And that could have stopped, like, the
That's
signing,
it.
Yeah.
You didn't drop the ball. But when you're analyzing rejection,
Yes.
at least pinpoint. Don't be hard on yourself. I dropped the ball that's too vague, and it really is too hard on you, because you would agree that she's good at a lot of things, right? When you say you dropped the ball, you're not saying you suck at everything, right? But guess what? That's how parents talk to kids. When they have a bad grade, they say, why are you failing? You're a bad kid. You just failed one class. You didn't fail all but the kid carries the whole disappointment throughout the whole what do you call the card thing?
Report card.
The report card. Yeah. They don't deserve that, but that's, parents don't necessarily know. But you're doing it to yourself because it's learned behavior. Yeah. And so that was drop the ball. That's how I would redirect it. That's how I would, and on the first one it says normalize rejection. Rejection is a natural part of life and growth. Yeah. Imagine trying to close a deal and receiving rejection. Instead of viewing it as a personal failure, right, dropping the ball, recognize that rejection is common in your job, like in most sales processes, and many successful individuals have faced similar setbacks. But they can identify where they dropped the ball. And when you identify what that is, focus on that. Okay?
Can I add to what you were saying earlier? Mm-hmm. So with that thing, what you were saying, like that still gets to me today, because like when I was younger too, I would be like, oh, I got an 80, but you could have gotten 100. Oh, I got a 70, but I got a 99, you could have gotten 100. So
yeah,
exactly. Being glad that I passed, that I did this, like don't even focus. I know I need to work on that, but let's just be happy right now that we did it.
Okay, hold that, and then after that we're gonna go to angry, silent, and then we'll touch on one of those. But what you're saying, okay, we're gonna go to the next one. It says reframing rejection as feedback, okay? And so rejection provides valuable feedback for improvement. After receiving constructive criticism from a publisher, the artist, or a deal, rather than feeling discouraged, use the feedback to revise and enhance, put your writing, but your art, your deal. And so when someone says, when you're young, that you got an 80 and you didn't get 100, you go, but I did it, okay? Guess who that sells short? It's you. So again, it becomes like, how do you reframe that thought? When you're working, there is a finish line, sadly enough. There is an 80 and there is 100. And if it isn't 100, that means you didn't close it. 80% of seeing a deal through is still 0 deal that's closed. And so they don't match when you're young to how you have to change the way you think when you're older. So that's nice that you when you're young, don't do that to a kid, right? But when you're older, you have to do it to yourself. And you have to expect 100 from yourself every time, because 100 means you close a deal and you're gonna get paid, right? And so that's what I would tell you, is that's a good example, but it's a good example to teach you how to reframe it and say, I learned this way, but I'm not trying to pass, I'm trying to win, right? Because we can pass with 70s. You can finish Harvard with 70s, still get a degree, but whenever it's business, it's what's closed and what's not. You can dream all day, you can hit 80s all day, but you need to see it through to 100%, and that means it's signed and you're getting paid. And so it's just reframing it. And so if it was me and talking to someone about communicating their past to the way they think now, it's like, this is what I was taught, and I had to shift my thinking. That's what I would say. It's just a new way of thinking because the other way it doesn't make sense. Now, when you're learning something because you want to be a great real estate agent, buy and sell, then the 80 rule, not getting, then it applies. But your goal is always to make the sale. So there is an actual finish line. So you just have to tell yourself that. That way you don't look at Zachariah and say, well, I did most of the work.
No, but even after it's close though.
Yeah.
It's like after it's close, like, well, you could have done, like, well, it's close though. You know, it's,
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got the 100.
we got the 100. Like, we deserve to be happy about that.
Yeah.
The next call we'll do better about this and this and this. And
Yeah, and that's the thing about rejection is that does have to be faced, and rejection happens more often than the rewards, and so that's why you have to learn to say, this, that's why you have to look at it a certain way, and if you're trying to sweeten it every time, then it's going to lose its effect. And I feel like a rejection should be a kick in the butt. Oh man, I didn't communicate. I need to communicate better. I didn't have the response. I need to read this book. I missed this. I need to write a checklist. Like every rejection should have a follow-up. Like, oh, I messed up. Here's what I did.
Yeah.
Angry.
How's that?
Yeah. What about it?
What were you angry? Because again, we're using the same principle, right? That if it's vague, then you're eating someone up completely. I'm mad that he's mad at everyone. But if you're mad because...
I was more mad at the seller.
There you go. So...
Pissed off. I
Yeah.
wanted to beat her ass.
Yeah.
Seemed like you were angry at me.
I was pissed off.
But there you go. Do you see what this rejection and what it caused? That thought between you and you,
Yeah.
before you said that and before she said what she said about dropping the ball, she thought you were angry with her.
Yeah.
Right? And rejection shouldn't create that tension between the team. Now, you could say, I'm angry at the seller. I wish it wouldn't have happened. You're going to kind of feel my anger, but it's not towards you. But it's also not excusing it.
Yeah.
Right? Just because it's not directed at you, there's still...
It doesn't feel like it. It's still
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
at you.
And so when I wrote angry, it was very general, but as soon as he said, man, it was the seller, 100%. How'd that make you feel? It's a little different.
Yeah.
It's not you, because there's a lot of guilt that comes with rejection. And you being the boss, you're also responsible for kind of the energy you send that way. So it's okay to be angry. It's okay to say, team, we need to, do better, but clarify and say, you know what, let me reframe it. I'm angry, but it is at her. And then that kind of helps her psyche at that time. And then you can continue with your anger because there's still something good that's gonna come out of it, okay? This one's interesting. How do we reframe silence, okay? You said silent. Silence, you feel numb. I don't know if it was the wrong word, but explain what you meant.
Yeah, words. Exactly.
Focus on the silence. Why did you say now?
So that's the silence where it comes to that word.
He thinks it was his fault. That
Okay.
So I thought it was
Yeah.
in a part of
Like,
my
we
fault.
shouldn't have said anything.
Right.
Because whenever I hear silence, it's always in hindsight. It's always like, I regret saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whenever you're dealing with stuff, that's always gonna happen. You're gonna feel regretful. You don't want to feel that, dude. We all make mistakes. We all go down the wrong direction. If you feel silent or like, man, I shouldn't, you can't do, it's gonna keep you from growing, okay? So there was a study that happened with the kid. It was a little kid sitting on a table and he was playing, and there was a therapist there and they're talking. He was being all happy, and he's like, yeah, grab this, and the kid was doing this, and he's like 5 or 4, so he's all just. His animal instincts are strong. He's not like us. Okay. Someone walks in the room, and then they start disciplining the adult. Why are you doing this? No, you were supposed to do this, and why did you do that? You clocked out. You clocked in, and the kid's sitting here, and he's going like this, and then he just shuts off. The aggressor walks out, and then she tries to reactivate the kid. And I go, you want to play with this? He's like, no. He totally turned off because of the energy in the room.
Yeah.
Silence is that's what literally happened. That he was so timid and scared, regretful. He don't know what he did wrong or his behavior, but he connected it to everything he did before that. Because he doesn't know if it was him or not. And so when you say I'm silent, I know you didn't mean to necessarily choose that word, but for all of you, whenever you feel that regret, is because you don't know where the blame is, where it went bad, where the anger is directed, and it starts changing our behavior. That we have to be careful about the energy that we bring into the room when rejection happens, because it might take y'all an hour to get out of it. Like if y'all don't pause and say, guys, take 5, go think about it, and we'll come and talk. It might be necessary because it literally throws your psyche off. That your next deal on the phone, you're gonna drop the ball for sure, bro, because you're not gonna be in the right state of mind. Now, with all due respect, get back on it. Like don't also get used to just being pampered. It's not that either. But be aware that it is changing your demeanor. And you don't even know it. And so when you said you were silent, it literally caused that change in you. You felt a little pressure because you inserted your opinion and it fell apart. And so in essence, you were kind of, man, if I wouldn't have said nothing, it would have worked. But that applies to everyone. If you wouldn't have said nothing, if you would have said something, the deal was still going to happen. So it's important for you to be like, no, I said it. And I need to speak up. Yeah. You might get it wrong 10 times, and then at that point we say, dude, maybe not.
Keep speaking up. I do appreciate your.
And so that's the reframing.
Yes.
Is that?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Is that if he's saying it, but we're all feeling it, then it's weird. But in the next deal, you're gonna be more quiet. In the next deal, you're gonna be more quiet because you're just beating yourself up. And what if everyone was 100% all the time? Said, try this, try that, try that, and she just has to use her gut instinct to say this is gonna be the best. But she at least heard you at 100, man. She heard you healthy. She heard you because you're reframing it. But if not, it's gonna be quiet. You're gonna be, hey, just go on your own because I don't want any blame. Hence, going back to the anger part. Right? Be angry and everything, but don't let it shut everybody else down because it happened like with the kid, it just happens naturally. And I felt like that's when you said that, that's what I automatically thought of.
That's
okay.
Exactly right.
And so just think about that. That's all. It's weird, but it's communication. Like how you communicate to yourself and how you communicate to each other. That's all I'm doing by hearing y'all talk. I'm just being that prompt that you're going to be for yourself and for your team. For the next one, okay, building resilience, okay, we obviously know that that's almost common sense. And the reason I like to, whenever I talk stuff that's common sense is because we need to be repeated, right? Soldiers, they snap into action because it's for my life, I gotta stay alive, it's a reaction. You need some things that just kind of happen on their own, okay? And so embracing rejection builds resilience and mental toughness. These are just a few. Okay, whenever you talk, this is the silent, the anger, this mental toughness comes from this. Like I don't want you to think like, oh, I need to quit being angry. I need to quit dropping the ball. It's fine. You can't build resilience if you can't identify the weakness. So that's why I had to share that first, so y'all can be vulnerable. But the next time you say, but I'm building from that. And I guarantee if we did the exact same class in 2-3 weeks, he wouldn't say angry. You wouldn't say I dropped the ball. I would be like, what happened? Well, you would give me what happened. You wouldn't say silence. You would be like, I gave my opinion. I should have gave a stronger opinion. This is what I really felt. You see, and so now it's there. You can build from it. Resilience comes from these responses right here. So you have to ask yourself, how are you gonna change that? Right? And we did it in the conversation. We all got to hear what it sounds like to flip it on its head. And so consider an athlete who faces defeat in a competition. Think about the NFL. There's one Super Bowl. There's one Super Bowl, really. But the rest of the time, whether you won or lost or whatever, only one team wins. But instead of giving up, they come back. They're motivated. They see the next deal. They're stronger, and that's building resilience. And that's mental toughness. How do y'all feel about mental toughness? Being I'm weak, I get in my emotions like real quick, being one, or I'm mentally strong, I'm able to continue to move forward, even with someone yelling in my face, even with someone talking down to me. Where do you see yourself?
What scale? Like one?
Like, yeah, 1 to 5. Like 5, your mental toughness is like, hey, I'll take it and I stay on. And then 1 is like, oh man, as soon as they yell at me, I'm.
No, I think I'm at like a 3.5 because I'm used to that for sure, but then I still get very emotional on some things.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, it's okay. And emotional is good, but in a time and place.
Time and place.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Mental toughness.
I guess I'm 4.7.
Nice.
Boy, you gave me high. That's good.
4.7.
Okay. Mental toughness.
Yeah. I want to say maybe like a 3 because I am really emotional, but I kind of get things aside and I'm like, okay, well, this is gonna get you nowhere. Just go through it, and then when I'm at my house, I cry. I won't really cry like if someone's yelling at my face. I'll just be like, okay, I'll take it.
Very good. Mental toughness.
4.5.
5. So, and so rejection, you have to be mentally strong. If you know the game of sales, if you're not mentally strong, you don't do sales, man. Go work at a factory line, really, because you cannot take, like, you need mental toughness. So whatever number you give in yourself, and I said earlier, when do you have to be tough? You just have to know when. But you have to understand who you are. And I think once we discussed when you were 8, growing up and how you grew up, maybe your mental toughness in a professional setting with that story would have been a minimal, but now that you shared it and you can share what you learned from it, it literally elevates it. You're not gonna be mentally weak when you share that story. You see what I'm saying? And so that is the whole purpose of communicating your story to yourself. Learning from rejection. Rejection offers opportunity for self-reflection and growth. We have been doing that this whole time, just reframing, looking at what happened, where you had that one deal and we literally learned, we reflected on it, and I believe that there was growth. And we just said dropping the ball, we just said silence, we said anger. And it's that simple. Whenever y'all need to say, when y'all are in there alone, say, guys, what can we learn from it? What's the first thing that comes to your head? Zoom in 1 more degree. And that is where you're gonna be learning. That is where the lesson is. But now, if y'all just hover around like this energy of defeat, then you're all nurturing that together. But if you say it was this, I should have did this, exactly, then that's a lot better. Then that means that rejection is gonna come and go a little bit quicker. There's still consequences from rejection, but it's not as bad. So rejection offers opportunities for self-reflection and growth. Can someone give me maybe one thing that you've learned from rejection? Because all of y'all have experienced it. What's one thing you've learned from rejection?
It's not your fault if that another person says no. You can't control other people's like yes or no's.
Okay.
Rejection is necessary, absolutely necessary for success.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't stop.
There's always a learning opportunity.
What have you learned from rejection? I'm gonna zoom in on it's not your fault. But before I jump into that, just because I pointed it out, your mind goes, why is he saying that? Does anyone want to take a guess of what wisdom can come from that statement? How would you reframe it? She said, rejection is not your fault. What's the truth that helps and what's the lie that doesn't? And you can answer, you can say, okay, I didn't mean it, or whatever. Do whatever, but I'm about to hit you with what I feel whenever it comes to rejection. And you say it's not your fault. I'm gonna give you one word. First one, raise your hand, you run with it, okay? Ownership. Apply that word to that statement and tell me what you think.
You have to hold yourself accountable for the result that's produced based on the actions that you chose to use in that certain situation.
There you go.
So
Does that make sense? So when you cite, whenever, and I heard that's what I thought, I said, it's not my fault. But there's ownership, whether it's a rejection or it's a success. And you're going to be able to look at it and say, what did I learn? What can I do different? Even when it's successful. So it's always your fault. Not in the fact that the other person was right there and made a deal. That's not your fault.
Yeah.
But there's other things that you can take ownership over, and that's reframing it in a way that you don't just sweep it to forget about it.
I meant to say, like, it's not your fault whether they say yes or no. Like, you know what I mean? Or
Because I didn't do what I committed. So that's where I missed my opportunity to get that yes.
And I'll reframe it like this, just to be funny, but sometimes you need humor to make sense of it. Whenever it's good, it's my fault. Whenever it's bad, it ain't my fault. Right? Parents always say that. When the kid does something good, that's me, and then it's the mom if it's bad. So look at it that way. You know what I'm saying? And so in essence, you're almost giving away all this wisdom because of the no's, because there's no ownership. So it's not my fault. There's language that you should just learn to reframe and not use. And when you say it's not my fault, I would just not say that. I would not think like that. I'm serious. You know what I mean? I would say I would take ownership over it. Let me break this deal down. Even though everything went well, some of it was luck.
Yeah.
Right, like
a lot of it. Yeah. Some of them are just
like the customer did all the work. I didn't do nothing.
right place, right time. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not your fault when you said it. I know sometimes we don't think it through, right? You gotta learn how to communicate it to yourself, so you don't take full ownership of that one. But I'm glad you did say it. It's not a knock on you, because all of us have done that. We do this, so it's not your fault. I would just reframe that and take ownership, and then that means you can look at good deals and bad deals under the same eye. Next one. Perseverance and persistence. Success often requires perseverance in the face of rejection. That one's easy. Think about a renewed, just someone who wrote something, did something, but they just kept going. They kept on going. 6-7 years ago, I started my podcast. Okay? And it's not a huge success, but boy, I got some legs on it. No one can tell me I do not know my craft. You know what I mean? It is because I persevered, and people have laughed. I've told people, come on. They don't come on. They think it's a joke, but I've kept going. You talk to me about communication and podcasting, I have an answer because I've developed it. I've developed it because I kept going. And so right now, someone can tell you, that's not going to sell. One day that no one's going to dare tell you. They're going to come to you and say, how can I sell this? Right? You know, this statement, you'll probably speak to people, and that'll be your opening, and you'll say, and don't ever say that again. I'm serious, because that's how it starts, and you'll know what it is about ownership, because it happened, because you're in it. And so that one's pretty self-explanatory, because all of y'all are doing it. You're in it. I think that's important. What are you proud of as far as rejection? What's one positive thing, just as a team? Can y'all recall a moment? And it's okay if y'all don't. A moment that y'all took the rejection well as a team. Like it sucked, but this happened, right? Like
Today was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think everybody gave their feedback. Everybody took the rejection hard, but it took it all as a learning opportunity. Like we all put in feedback on, everybody gave feedback from the beginning. Everybody gave feedback on where everybody took accountability.
Good.
Like and when that they shouldn't have. You
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what I mean? Like it was a weight off my shoulders being the one making the call.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And so it felt really good as a team. And I said this before, I feel like we got the right people in place, and that just goes to show it even more.
like all the water evened out. You know, like we all,
exactly. And we did
Yeah.
move on like fairly quickly
Yeah.
and stuff, but we
And-
learned on like what we needed to do.
Yeah, like Zeke was like, oh, take it as a learning lesson. And me too, like, after I saw that one, I'm like, okay, well, what's the next deal? Like, I literally was wanting to run numbers like 2 minutes before, because I was like, we can't.
Savage.
Yeah.
Like, we can't stay here. We need to keep on
okay,
going. Like,
so us discussing it, did y'all feel like it was better, like closure? Because
Yes.
Zeke just said,
Yes.
let's just learn from it.
yeah.
Now, okay, I'll finish with this. We'll finish this section with this. You said it's not your fault. He said, let's learn from it. That statement holds, it's the same context as her statement. Okay, let me explain. I'll let can you communicate what you think I got from what he said and what she said and how I'm comparing them? I want to give someone an opportunity to kind of prompt this thought, this question. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you why you don't want to say that necessarily. Okay, just like this, you don't want to say
There's
that.
something wrong that you have to fix from it.
Okay, close.
Because you can always do better. Like there was something you could have done better.
No, here we go. So when you feel like you're going to say that, man, there's a lesson in this. You feel me? Go for it.
Well, I guess what I'm picking up what you're putting down, like, you don't want to necessarily go into everything all the time and just being okay with not having the lack of results that you want just because you can learn from it.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, we made a 90, even though we didn't make the 100.
Yeah. Here's how I would reframe it. Give me the lesson.
Give it a lesson.
Don't say there's a lesson in that. So in essence, you say go find your lesson. You go find your lesson. You go. It's a cop out, and as respectfully as I can say that. No. What I'm saying is give the lesson.
Yeah.
Guys, we went through it together. We could have did these 3 things. And as a team, next time, let's try this. Boom. That's better than you saying, "Oh, there's some lessons in it." Just say it. Just say the lesson.
Next time, let's try these 3 things.
Like example.
Yeah.
Bring on the hard stuff.
It's not your fault. No. Well, what can you do better?
Yeah.
Right? There's a lesson in it. Well, what is the lesson? Vague responses, they allow you to participate, but to back out. And I would say just step into it and say, here's what I'm thinking, but here's the real thought. Okay? So we'll finish with questions or comments on this section on rejection. Embracing rejection as a stepping stone to success. Any question or comment? It could be for the team. It don't even have to be a question. And we will stop there.